So it's a really exciting day. We're finally starting the true finishing work in the back of the Hummer RV conversion. For the last month, we've been building out the back of the Hummer to be kind of a mini camper, a little RV conversion in the back. We have cabinets and cubby holes, a little sink, some extra storage. It's definitely not the perfect vehicle for doing overlanding and adventuring, but I've always liked the H2, so when I had an opportunity to pick one up last year, I knew it would be the perfect chance to build something a little bit different than what everybody else is doing, and I've been excited to share the process with all of you. I know it's quite a bit different than what I'm usually working on here, but I've really enjoyed this whole process because it's letting me blend both of my hobbies together. That's building cool automotive stuff and photography, and I'm so excited to get this thing out on the road. So now we're gonna jump into laying down the matte black laminate that we have for the cabinets. I knew from the very beginning that I did not want to do an exposed wood look on the truck. I wanted to do something that matches the theme of the truck a little bit better, and so I figured if I could find some cool matte black materials or satin black materials that it would just really go along with the theme of the truck. I have some stainless steel hardware. We have some very, very black wood grain flooring that's gonna go down on the deck. But today we're gonna start with the laminate. And we have these two huge matte black sheets of laminate from Formica. This is gonna work out really well. And in that last video, we actually unboxed it and they were damaged. And I was a little frustrated because so many professionals will use these big sheets to make seamless countertops. And both of these were pretty damaged. And so if you were somebody that was looking to do that, you weren't gonna be able to do a seamless countertop. And I kind of assumed because of Home Depot's customer service reputation online with online orders that they just weren't going to care. But hey, I gotta give a shout out to Home Depot because they gave me 25% back on this. And for me personally, these things aren't going to matter. It took me about 2 weeks to get these ordered and here, and I just don't have time to wait to get replacement panels anyway. So hey, that's pretty cool. I'm pretty happy with that. And so here in the back of the truck, I think we're gonna start with the cabinet side. Now, I'm not going to do the face of the cabinet today because I'm waiting on a recessed stainless steel hinge. I was sure that I could buy those here locally, but I went to 4 different hardware stores and they have some really nice cabinet hardware, but nobody was selling recessed stuff. I could go to a trailer store and buy Chrome's trailer hinge or toolbox hinge, but I really want something a little bit nicer, and so I need 1 recessed hinge there and I need 2 for the cubby holes, and so that stuff's going to wait. But today I can get all of this done. We're going to do the inside, we're going to do the outside and the top and the edges. Now, I've never worked with Formica before. I've never worked with laminate, so I hope it's not a total disaster. One of the reasons I bought 2 sheets was so I could have a lot of room for error. But after looking at everything and all the little intricate pieces, I might end up needing more of those 2 sheets than I initially anticipated. But I'm gonna go ahead and pull that cabinet side out and get started, and we'll see how it goes. So I'm gonna pull this bottom piece out first. I've kept these both separated. So the top part of the cabinet mounts to the inside of the truck using riv nuts. The bottom is just going to mount using external fasteners straight into the fender well. And as you can see, if you did not see that last video, I installed a couple of these USB ports, one back here and one up front on that side. And to keep this easily removable, we've installed a Molex plug. This is just like an automotive connector that we can build here at AudioCraft. And so I installed
hello there,
one of those so we can quick disconnect that's for easy removal. And so this is going to be the first piece I work with because we're totally done with its piece. We will have a side on here at one point, but that's going to be one of the very, very last things that we do once all of this is installed. So I chose this little corner just to do a test. I've watched quite a few videos on the proper way to do this, and while we do have some finishing routers and things in here, I have some really weird kind of intricate turns and stuff. I was hoping to maybe be able to freehand some of this, and we already got like a little bit of a crack from using the scissors, and I did read that if you tape off your lines that you should be able to avoid that. So I'm actually gonna flip this over and we'll tape our lines off and we'll see if that helps any better. Okay, so if y'all don't know me personally, I love learning new things, especially new things when it comes to building, fabricating, stuff like that. So that's why when we got this truck, I was really excited because it was kind of old and beat up and I could do stuff like this. I didn't have to buy everything off the shelf. I could build things. And so me and a buddy built the roof basket and the ladders and the snorkel that's up front. So I just really love learning things. And I also love problem solving, kind of figuring stuff out. So that's why this stuff's fun to me. But let me get to the point. As I said earlier in the video, I've never worked with this sort of stuff before. I've done a lot of woodwork and stuff as a hobby in the past, but I've never worked with any countertop. And so earlier, when I taped this off and cut it, this is what my edge looked like. All of the countertop material was breaking off, separating from the backing. And so I watched a video that said you need to tape it off before you're doing routering or anything like that. And I tried the tape and it was marginally better. Not much better. My hope was I could do all of this just with a pair of really nice scissors. And after doing a few cuts, I was standing here considering doing a Google search and seeing if I could just find somebody to come out here to pay to do this today. But that's not really my style. I didn't really want to do it that way. And so I started experimenting. And so my very first cut, as you might have saw, was we marked it on the back and I flipped it on its back so that I could tape this off without potentially scratching the top. And so when I went to cut, let's take a look at that cut. See, the edges are kind of jagged. It's not too bad. Let's do another one. So, Jeez, okay. So look, see, it's all kind of separated right there. However, if I cut it from the top, you know, the scissors are kind of directional. You know, with the way that they pull and push. So you still got it right there, but it's on the outside edge. And so as long as we do it like this, I think our edge will be nice and straight doing it this way. So here, let me try to. Should just put you on the tripod, I know. So, but if we want to cut this whole edge straight without damaging it, it looks like as long as we go from the top, see, look, it pops some off, but not from the edge we're using. And I think we could probably even do curve. See, that's not too bad. That's a pretty, that's smooth. That's about perfect. And then we have some finishing rasps that we'll use. And so I think as long as I'm cutting it from the black side using the scissors, I think I can do this on my own. I hope so. I don't mind paying a professional to come out here and do this, but I take a lot more pride when I can do it myself, even though the majority of the things that I do, my friends are helping me out with, but at least I'm kind of learning along the way. So we're gonna try this side one more time. Since this is the smallest side we could work on, we're gonna just move over. We'll try it one more time using the scissors and see how that comes out. All right, so we're gonna try this one more time. Like I said, this is not the way you're supposed to be doing this. You're supposed to kind of cut this stuff roughly, mount it on top of your cabinet or whatever you're doing, and then use a router to cut it, and a finishing file to kind of clean it all up. So all of my professional carpenters out there and home finishing people, people like my father, don't get mad at me about this. This is the way I want to do it. Just let me do it the way I want to do it, please. So we're still gonna cut it kind of rough and kind of loosely so that we can finish it out. I believe, if I understand correctly, you're supposed to do the sides first and the top last, so that you can file down the top to where that edge doesn't get filled up whenever you pull on it. So I'm gonna get it close to this edge, but not right on it. And all that stuff's not exactly square either, so hopefully we can see if it's actually marks. Alright, there's our loose, rough cut. Alright. And I think as long as we cut from the top, And give it just a little bit of room for error. I think we'll probably be okay. Yeah, so far so good. The only problem is if there's like one of these big pieces we're gonna do here in a little bit, if there's just like one mistake anywhere on here, it could totally ruin the entire piece. So we're gonna, oh, see, like that, I just ruined pretty much the whole piece just now because I snapped it right at the end. This is a little bit more difficult than I thought it was gonna be. We'll see. If I make too many more mistakes, we will call in reinforcements. My dad's not busy, he might come help me, or I seriously do not mind calling up an actual professional and just having them knock this out for me. So we'll cut this one just a little long, since that's our, that way we can get in here and cut this. Oh, see, it's like, it delaminates really easily.
A few inches later.
So that's definitely not the prettiest piece at all. At least on that corner. But let's set it on and see what it looks like. Because that is up, and I'm retarded.
Language.
That was not good. Whew.
One debt to society later.
So I think I've been through every stage of denial at this point. I was having a really hard time. I was getting a little frustrated, and I think there's still some pieces inside of the truck that I might have to have an expert come and help me with. But it turns out the best way to do this is the appropriate way to do this. So I went and dug out a flush cut router bit out of the wood room, and I've been practicing a little bit, and I'm doing a lot better. I'm getting a lot better results, and so I'm gonna try to do what I can on my own. There's some really intricate pieces that are inside the truck that I'm not exactly sure how to get a really clean cut on. I might just have to use the scissors and be really careful, or maybe I gotta, you know, go ahead and call in an expert. But yep, funny story, do things the way that they're meant to be done, and you're gonna get better results. Okay, so after that last clip, I took a break from filming just to focus on learning how to do this. I felt like I was really burning through a lot of material, and I was getting worried that I wasn't gonna have enough laminate to finish all of this before I leave town here in the next couple days, and I'm really hoping to have all of this done. So I just took a break from filming just so I could learn the proper way to do this. I kept running into some little issues. I was also exhausted, and so I just wasn't really thinking properly, and I was making a lot of mistakes that I probably should not have been making. Fast forward a couple days, and it's coming along really, really well. I've actually been able to almost get this entire driver's side of the truck cut out and templated using the old scrap. I haven't even cut into the new sheet yet, and so it's going a lot better. I kept having some issues with the router bit that I was using, that flush cut bit kept scratching the side of my material because the glue was getting on the blade, and that glue was getting hard and then scratching the side of my material. I'm gonna cover most of the edges with some thin aluminum angle iron anyway, but it was just really frustrating me, and I was just having a bad night the other night. Today's going so much better. So with that being said, I'm kind of on a roll today, so I'm not gonna do a lot of filming today. I'm just gonna focus on getting all of this done, but I will set the camera up. We'll do a couple time lapses, and I'll kind of update y'all along the way, but I'm planning on having both of the cabinet sides done by tonight. Might be a little late tonight, but I should have all that done by tonight, and then I'll start on the floor tomorrow. Hopefully by the end of the day tomorrow, I can have the majority of this kind of all wrapped up and ready to get on the road. Looking through clips from the last day of kind of working, I did notice that a few of the edges in the video look a little rough, and that's not because they're broken, it's just because we have not finished them out. We're gonna take a little rasp and we're gonna grind all these edges down and smooth them out a little bit. And a lot of these edges are also going to get some aluminum angle iron to kind of accentuate it and to help protect it. And so if we do have any little cracks or any issues, it's not gonna be that big of a deal. But I did notice that in the video, it looks way, way worse than it actually is. All of this stuff is gonna clean up and look really, really nice and flush once we're all said and done. And you see all of these tape templates I've made for all these kind of intricate pieces, specifically on the sink side. These are just tape templates that I laid tape down to get really precise measurements. Then we lay the tape onto this cardboard, cut them out, and then we cut it out of the laminate. I'm trying not to use the router too much at this point, just because this side is kind of hard to get all these really intricate angles and pieces, and we can't use the router on like 3/4 of this entire box anyway. And you can see what I've done here. I've actually painted the corners of this entire box just with a matte black. I've also painted behind it, the whole thing matte black. And I've done that so if there's any chipping or if there's any edges that just aren't perfectly true and there's a little bit of wood showing behind it, you're gonna see the black paint instead of this white birch or this plywood behind it. And I think that's just gonna look a lot better at the end of the day. In that last video, I was having a really hard time with the top of the cabinet. I've learned a lot doing this. I should probably lay down the laminate on some of these intricate pieces while they're flat before I build lips or anything like that. But that's part of the journey, you know, kind of figuring out how this is done and learning. But I was having a hard time getting this templated. I kind of ruined 2 big pieces. Luckily, I was able to salvage some of them for the template. But I went ahead and made this tape template that fits in there perfectly. You can see it's kind of wedged in there right now just because that stuff comes in that roll over there. And so it's kind of curled up right now. But that's gonna let us make our top piece out of the laminate and make it fit in there just perfectly. But anyway, before I lose my fire, I am gonna jump back into this. I'm gonna finish all of the templates and then we'll go from there. So this has taken a big chunk of my day just making all of these templates, but they're all basically a perfect fit. And so that's gonna make this a lot easier. It's gonna look a lot better. And so it was definitely worth my time. I have not cut out that big blue one just yet. That's gonna go on top of the cabinet. But this is everything for the sink over here except for the template that's on top of the cabinet. I still have to cut that one. And this is the very top of the cabinet. And I've left that one loose because we're just gonna glue that one down and router it so we can get these curved edges here. Our templates probably aren't gonna line up to that perfectly, but I'm just going to glue that rough template down and then we will router it out up here. That'll make this piece a lot easier. Plus we get one seamless piece on top of this sink area and I think that's gonna look really sharp.